Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. I forgot. I'm gonna be right back. I have to grab my headphones real quick. We'll go ahead and get started this morning. So welcome to number 2, total body strength. We are again gonna be using dumbbells, and then this week instead of doing a time, we're just going to aim for reps today. So the goal is to get through the circuit 3 times through, and we're going to do 12 reps of everything. So if it's a single leg thing, we'll do each side, but I think everything on here we should be fine without having to do that. So we're going to do 12 reps for everything. Since I'll try and I'll give you guys a few seconds in between each movement to like transition wise. So we're gonna need our dumbbells, and I'll show you guys what we're gonna be going through first, and then we'll go ahead and warm up real quick, and then we'll get started. So today we're gonna be focusing on, we're gonna do upper body and lower body, but we're gonna focus on pushing movements for the upper body, so more shoulder related things, and then we're gonna work on glutes and hamstrings, so more of that lower body pull. So we're gonna start off with around the world raises. So for this, we're going to start with our dumbbells in front of us. We want our palms facing forward. We're going to squeeze our shoulders as we lift the weight above head and then come back down. We want to make sure we're going slow and controlled on the way back down. And we want to make sure the weight is light enough where we're not swinging. So when we do this, we don't want to be swinging up the weight here. We want everything to be nice and tight. So tuck the pelvis, squeezing that core, raising the weight above your head, and then back down. So 12 of those. And then we're going to do RDLs after that. So we want our feet shoulder width apart. Dumbbells are going to be in front, and we're going to push those glutes back like we're closing a door. We want to keep our knees slightly bent until our chest is roughly parallel with the ground. And that's when we're going to start to feel the pull in the back of our hamstrings. And then we're going to squeeze the glutes and stand up, and then right back down. So going down, squeeze, stand up. So we're going to do RDLs. And then we'll go back to our upper body, and we're going to do some side raises. So from here, we're going to lift the dumbbells straight out to the side. We want the dumbbells to stay on the outside of our legs. We want the pinky to be facing up. So we don't want our the back of our hand to be up. We want pinkies up. So the thumbs are going to be pointing towards the ground. We're going to parallel and then back down. So we're squeezing the shoulders to parallel and back down. We want to make sure we're keeping our shoulder blades pulled back. So we don't want to be hunched forward here. We want to be nice and tall, raising those hands without bringing those shoulders. We want the shoulders to be as far away from the ears as we can make them. All right, and then up next, we're going to do glute bridges. So we're going to be on the ground. And you can either put one dumbbell or both your dumbbells on your lap here. But we're going to have our feet fully on the ground, and we're going to squeeze the glutes, come up, and then back down. So we're squeezing and back down. We want to make sure that we're keeping the pelvis tucked and the core tight in that one as well. So then that way we can really make sure we're putting all the emphasis on our glutes there. And then we're going to stand back up, and we're going to do reverse flies. So for these, we want it to be similar to our RDL position. So we're going to push our hips back, chest parallel with the ground. We're going to bring our hands straight out to the side and back down. So we're coming straight out and down. So it's like a combination of the RDLs and our side raises, basically. And then we'll get on the ground and we'll do a core exercise for you guys. And we're just going to do some toe touches again with the dumbbells. So feet straight in the air. You can use 1 or 2 dumbbells or none, whatever you're most comfortable with. And reaching up and touching your toes. 12 reps of those. So we're doing, again, 12 reps of everything. And we'll work through the whole workout together. We want to make sure we're taking it nice and slow and getting the most out of each movement. So for our warm-up, really quickly, we're just going to do some quadruped rocking. So we're going to start off on our hands and our knees. And we're going to have our hands directly below the shoulders, knees below the hips, and we're going to come back, letting the glutes touch the heels. Squeeze the glutes, and then come back to center. We want to make sure we're keeping our core nice and tight, keeping that pelvis tucked. We're just rocking back and forth, getting those hips warmed up. And wherever we're at, we're going to go ahead and do 2 more. And last one. Wonderful. All right, last thing to warm up our legs a little bit, we're going to do our hip flexor hamstring stretch. We're going to go back and forth between the hip flexor and then back to hamstring. So from here, we want one knee on the ground, other foot on the ground. We're going to tilt our pelvis, push our hips forward, reach in our hand above head, feeling that stretch in the front part of our hip. And then we're going to go back into hamstring. So feeling that stretch all the way through the back of the leg. The higher the toe is pointed up, the more you're going to feel that in your calf. So it's going to be a good stretch there. And we're going to go back to hip flexor. And back to hamstring. We're going to flip over to the other side. So other knee on the ground, other foot on the ground, tucking your pelvis, push your hips forward, reach it up overhead, keeping that core tight, squeezing the glute of the knee that is on the ground. And we're going to go back into hamstring. As far down as we can here, toes pointed up. And one more time, hip flexor. And back down into hamstring. All right, let's go ahead and get started here today. So we're going to start with our around the world raises, grabbing our dumbbells, palms facing forward. So we're going to do 12. And if you don't know me very well, I'm terrible at talking and counting. So I'm probably going to lose count. So if someone else wants to keep track of the number, that's great. But I'm going to really try and focus on talking and counting. So we're going to see how well I can multitask this morning. Okay, starting with the around the world raises. So we're coming up all the way overhead and back down. We want to make sure our thumbs are up, facing each other when we get to the top. And we're going nice and slow through the movement. We want to make sure we're using just our shoulders here. We want to make sure that on the way down, or the eccentric portion of this movement, we want to make sure we're going slow enough. We don't want to just drop our hands towards the ground here. We want to control the weight going up, control the weight going down. Great job, you guys. If my counting is correct, that is 6. So we got 6 more of these to go. Hope you guys are all staying nice and warm today. It is cold outside. I guess this workout will get us nice and warm here today. Awesome job, you guys. We're going to go ahead and do 2 more here. Going down nice and slow. And last one. Wonderful. I'll give you guys a couple seconds to finish out your reps here, because we all do move at a little bit different paces. And once we're done with our 12 around the world raises, we're going to move on to our RDLs. So we're going to do 12 of those as well. So our feet shoulder width apart. Shoulder blades, we want to pull down and back. So you want to pretend like you're cracking an egg in between your shoulder blades. We want everything nice and flat. Tucking that pelvis, squeeze your core. And we're going to push those glutes back, keeping a slight bend in our knees. And we're going to squeeze the glutes as we come up. We want to make sure that we're pushing the ground away from us here. Heel, big toe, little toe as we squeeze the glutes and come up. We want to make sure we're keeping the dumbbells as close to our body as we can. So like right now, my fingertips are I can feel my nails brushing down my legs. And that's going to make sure that we're not engaging our low back in this. It's really easy to have our low backs take over, but we really want all the weight of the movement here coming from our hips, from our glutes, and our hamstrings. So if we start to feel it in our low back, let me know and we can help adjust that for you guys. But we want to make sure we're getting our hips back as much as we can. And we're going to go ahead and do 2 more here. And last one. Wonderful. Great job, you guys. And we're going back to upper body again. We're going to do our side raises here. So our hands are going to be starting on the outside of our legs, pinkies up, arms are going to come straight up and back down. So we want to make sure we're going to parallel, so the hands are parallel with our shoulders. We don't want the hands above the shoulders because that's going to put a little bit more pressure, oh my gosh, on the shoulder joints here. So we want to make sure we're stopping at parallel, squeezing the shoulders, coming up, and then slowly lowering. So just like the around the world raises, we want to control on the way down. We need to make sure we're doing both portions of the movement. So we're squeezing the shoulders and slowly lowering while keeping our shoulders. Our shoulder blades are pinned back, so we're crushing that egg still, squeezing and lowering. Great job, you guys. We're gonna go ahead and do 2 more here. And last one. Awesome. Great job, you guys. We're gonna now go ahead and move back. We're gonna move back. We haven't been on the ground yet. We're gonna make our way to the ground. And we're gonna do our glute bridges here. So we can do either no weight or both your weights or one of your dumbbells, whatever feels most comfortable. You're gonna put that on your lap. I'm gonna have my hands still around there because sometimes it can put a little bit of pressure on your hip bones. And we're going to squeeze the glutes, come up and back down. So we want to make sure we have our whole foot on the ground, squeezing through those glutes, keeping our pelvis tucked, coming back down. So pelvis is tucked, our low back is nice and flat. When we get to the top of this movement, we want a nice straight line from hips to our knees. And we want all of the driver of this movement here is just the glutes. Want to make sure our feet aren't too far away from our body and our feet are still going to be shoulder hip width apart. Great job, guys. We're going to do 2 more here. And last one. Wonderful. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to stand up and we're going to do our reverse flies. So remember, a combination of a side raise and an RDL. So we're going to stand with our feet shoulder width apart, slight bend in the knee, and we're going to push those hips back until our chest is parallel with the ground. Shoulder blades, squeezing that, cracking that egg in between them. And we're going to make sure our pinkies are up, coming straight out to the side and back down. If you guys were in Luis's class, this is similar to those T's that we were doing. We want to make sure that we're squeezing through the shoulder here. So the shoulders are the driver of this movement. We should feel it in the backs of our shoulders more than we should in between the shoulder blades. So our shoulder blades are actively pinching together the whole time as we move the weight up with our rear delts, so the backs of our shoulders here. This is a great movement to help with posture, especially if you're sitting at a desk all day. Great job, you guys. We're going to do 2 more here. And last one. Oh, man. That is a tough one. I did that movement yesterday. Okay, you guys, when we finish our 12 reps of those, we're making our way back to the ground. And we're going to do our toe touches. So doing 12 of those. So legs straight up in the air. You can use 1, 2, or 0 dumbbells. whatever is most comfortable for you today. And we're squeezing the core. So we're going to pretend like we have an apple sitting right on top of our stomachs here, crushing that apple as we reach up and touch our toes. Great job, you guys. Wherever you're at, we're going to do 2 more. And when we're done, we're going to start back at the top with the around the world raises. All right, making our way to standing. If you need to get some water, grab some water or some coffee if you're a coffee drinker, some tea maybe, get your insides nice and warm. And we're going to start off with our around the world raises. So we're starting at the top. So palms facing forward, hands right on the outside of our legs. And we are squeezing the shoulders, bringing those dumbbells directly overhead and back down. This movement is really good for overall shoulder health. We're getting all aspects of the shoulders here, which again, great for helping with posture, as well as helping increase our strength in the shoulder joint, because our shoulder joints are pretty small. I think I said that last week. I probably say it all the time, let's be real, because if you take my classes, you know I love the shoulder work. We're gonna have great shoulders after a couple weeks of this class, you guys. Hope you guys are ready for it. I know Jet's ready. Great job, you guys. 3 more. And we're gonna go ahead and do 1 more here. Awesome, great job, you guys. All right, next up, RDLs. So feet are shoulder width apart. Weights in front of us. We are going to slightly bend the knees. Shoulder blades are crushing that egg, cracking that egg. Pelvis is tucked. And we're pushing our hips back, squeezing the glutes, standing back up. So I want to make sure that we have one flat line between our hips to our head. So I want to make sure we're looking down here in front of us on the ground to help keep our neck in line with the rest of our spine. As our neck doesn't, or our spine includes the neck, so I want to make sure that our chin is tucked a little bit here and that we are focusing on keeping everything nice and flat in our back, squeezing the glutes as we come up. The glutes and the hips and the hamstrings are the driver of this movement, not our back. We want to make sure we're not lifting with the back, but are lifting the weight, moving the weight with our glutes here. Great job, you guys. We're gonna go ahead and do 2 more here. And last one. Perfect. All right, moving back to our upper body, we're doing our side raises. So weight stays on the outside of our legs. Pinkies are up, driving up with our shoulders. So pinkies up, going to parallel here. Squeezing those glutes. And by glutes, oh my gosh. I mean shoulders. Squeezing the shoulders. Wrong movement. Still on RDL brain. It's okay. It's early. It's like the early morning crew is back together. I love it. Great job, guys. Squeezing through the shoulders. Lowering nice and slow. Pinkies are up. Shoulder blades pinned down and back. Wherever we're at, we're going to go ahead and do 2 more here. And last one. Wonderful. So now we're going to go ahead and go to the ground doing our glute bridges. So weights are on the hips, on our lap. Feet are shoulder width apart and a little bit out from the glutes here. And we're going to tuck the pelvis, squeeze the glutes, come up and back down. So we want to make sure that the glutes are squeezing to drive the weight up. And we want our feet to be planted on the ground, driving the glutes up by pushing the ground away from us. Great job, you guys.
Jazzy, do we rest the weight on our lower abdomen, or do we keep it in the air a little bit? Do we rest it on ourselves?
So I have mine like right on my hip bone. So if you lay it like right in that crease of where your hip meets your abdomen, that's perfect.
Okay, thanks.
And then if you have your hands, yeah, of course. If you have your hands around it, that will give it a little bit more cushion, because sometimes when it's right on the hip bone, it can get a little bit uncomfortable. So you can have your hands like still around it, just resting it right in that hip crease.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Great job, you guys. Let's go ahead and do 2 more. Squeeze those glutes. Awesome. All right, next up, once we're done with those, we're going to stand back up, and we got reverse flies coming up. Standing up, feet are shoulders apart, and we have a slight bend in our knees. Hips are going back, and our hands are directly in front of us. We're coming directly out like a T. Squeezing, we want our shoulder blades pulled back together like we're cracking that egg, and then we're lifting the weight up with our shoulders. So we should feel this right here on the part of our shoulder. So that's that part that's really going to help us with some posture here, working on that upper back. Great job, you guys. Where we're at, let's go ahead and do 2 more. And last one. And from there, we are going to make our way onto the ground for our toe touches. So back on the ground, feet in the air, dumbbells. You can use 1, 2, or 0. And we are exhaling as we bring our weights towards our toes. Great job, you guys. And wherever we're at, we're going to go ahead and do 2 more. And that will complete our second round of the workout. And I don't believe we're going to have time to go through the full portion again. So we'll go ahead, and I think we'll just do our around the world raises and the RDLs, and I think that might be all we'll have time for that last round. So let's go ahead and start with those. So we'll do the around the world raises. So palms facing forward, hands just outside of those legs here. And we're going to squeeze the shoulders all the way up and around and back down. So nice, slow, and controlled. Feeling this globally through the shoulders. So we should feel it in the front, the middle, and the backs of our shoulders. Controlling the weight up, controlling the weight down. Great job, you guys. Doing awesome. We're gonna go ahead and do 3 more. And last one. Great job, you guys. Once we finish those up, we're gonna go ahead and go to our RDLs. So feet shoulder width apart, side bend in the knees, shoulder blades pinned back together, crushing that egg. Pelvis is tucked, core is tight. And we're gonna push those glutes back like we're closing that car door behind us. Pretend like you got a bunch of groceries with you and you can't close your door. So we're gonna close it with our butt. We wanna make sure we're going back as far as we can. One try and go back as far as we can with those hips. So the farther back we go, the more we're gonna feel that in the hamstrings and the less we're gonna feel that in our backs. Pushing the ground away from us, squeezing those glutes. Great job, you guys. Wherever we're at, we're gonna go ahead and do 2 more. And last one. Ooh. Awesome job, you guys. So that's gonna be all we have time for the actual circuit. So let's go ahead and do a nice cool down before we go on with the rest of our morning. So we're gonna make our way to our hands and our knees. And we did a lot of upper body things today. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do some reach throughs here. So I'm gonna take my right hand and I'm gonna thread the needle through my left arm and my left leg. So my head is on the ground and my whole arm from my palm to my shoulder is on the ground. So I'm gonna push into the ground, pull away with my upper back. Feel that stretch right under that shoulder blade. Breathing nice and deep into the chest. And we're gonna do one more big inhale. And a nice, long, slow exhale. And we're gonna put that hand back under our right shoulder. And we're gonna move on to the other side. So I'm now gonna take my left arm and I'm gonna thread it in between my right leg and my right arm. Palm through the shoulder, or hand, back of the hand through the shoulder on the ground. Pushing into the ground, pulling away with the upper back. Breathing nice and deep into our chest. Feeling everything open up. And we're gonna go ahead and do one more. And by one more, I mean one more inhale, sorry. And a nice long slow exhale. And we're gonna turn that hand back under the shoulder. And that will conclude round 2 of total body strength. Thank you guys both for coming. I just love that we can, it's like we're in the gym again. It's wonderful. Don't forget, you guys, I would love to see both of you at Exercise with Excess later today. And we do also have 2 stretch breaks today. So if you need a quick stretch, we have one at 11, one at 2:30. So today's Thursday, the last ones of the week. But great job today, you guys. Thank you for coming. And hopefully we'll see you